ค่ะ welcome to Sabai Talk Podcast, a podcast about Thai food, Thai culture, and the Thai way of living. I am Hong Thaimee, a New York City-based chef and a founder and owner of Thaimee Artisanal Sauces.
And I'm Pailin, a chef, YouTuber, and creator of hotthaikitchen.com. So today, instead of tackling a single dish like we did in the past, we're going to tackle a whole region of Thai cuisine. I'm very excited about this. And when it comes to food, Thai cuisine can be divided into 4 rough culinary regions, right? We've got the North, the South, the Central, and the Northeast. Today, we're going to tackle the south of Thailand. Now, why are we choosing the south first?
Because White Lotus is so big right now. And it's filmed in the southern Thailand. I mean, that is just, no, that's a joking way to say. I think I want to talk about southern Thai food because the flavor is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my childhood, I spent a lot of time savoring the spiciness and the pungent and the bold flavors of อาหารปักใต้
Right, which means southern food. And I
Yeah.
mean, all jokes aside, it did come to our attention because White Lotus is huge right now. And so there's a lot of attention to the south. However, I will say that if you go and have a vacation like that in White Lotus, you're probably not going to have any southern food. You'll probably eat hotel resort food, which is completely different from real southern food that Thai people have in the south of Thailand. You'll probably still have your pad thai and green curry in your hotel.
Well, you know what? I have to study what they serve at the hotel. But after this episode, then you would have some knowledge. And if you're a White Lotus fan and want to to visit that region, then you would know a dish or two of what to try.
Yes. So let's first start with our personal ties to south of Thailand. So I was born and raised in the south. I can say that I am a southern girl. However, I did leave the south when I was about 12 years old. So in some ways, I don't really feel like a southern girl anymore. But I was born and raised in a town called Hat Yai, which is in the province of Songkhla. And it is very, very south, so south that in fact we share a border with Malaysia. And I remember taking road trips across the border to Malaysia just to go shop for Malaysian snacks. Like they have like a little supermarket just across the border. And I would say that I went to Malaysia, but really it didn't count. I went to that store in Malaysia. And it was so exciting because everything was so different. They had all kinds of different food that we didn't have. But that's just to tell you how close to the very, very south Songkhla was.
That's funny. We might have crossed paths there because I remember one summer my dad took us on a road trip. We drove all the way from Chiang Mai down to Padang Besa, right, in Songkhla. Yeah. And we went to Malaysia and bought a lot of back then we called foreign products, right?
Yeah.
Because back then we did not have much of all that international. Actually, it's Pringles. That was It was Pringles that we only found in Malaysia. Remember?
Yes. Exotic snacks.
Yes. And Washington apples. Remember?
Oh my God. Yes. Red delicious apples.
Yes.
The worst apples you could possibly imagine. But it was the only kind that we had in the south. And so expensive compared to other kinds of fruit. I remember they were sold by the each. And it was like 5 baht each, which like compared to other Thai fruit, it's so expensive. And once in a while we'd get to have it. And I thought apples were the most delicious exotic fruit in the world. I did not realize that red delicious apples are basically the worst apples you could possibly have. Like everything else is basically better than red delicious.
Good branding of the name.
Yes, good branding of the name. So by the way, I don't know if this will ring a bell for you, but the Malaysian place where we went to get snacks was called Changlon. Does that know? Okay.
No,
It might
I
have
do not
been
know that much. Yeah.
it might have just been the name of the store. I don't know if that was the name of the store or the name of the region. I don't know. That's just what we call it. We're going to Changlon. Okay, so let's start with where exactly is the south of Thailand? This is very easy, actually. If you look at the map of Thailand, you will notice that it looks like an X, right? And in Thai, we call it, what do we call it?
Golden axe.
That's right, golden.
แห
What
ล
is
ม
the
ทอ
Thai
ง
word? Lam tong. Um,
No,
golden
ขวาน
axe. Something.
ขวาน
Kwan
ทอ
tong.
ง
We call it the golden axe. And the south of Thailand is basically all of the handle of the axe. Okay, so it's a very narrow peninsula. It is part of what's called the Malay Peninsula. And in fact, Malaysia is a part of that. We share borders with Malaysia, so Malaysia is a part of that. Now, there are 14 provinces in the south of Thailand. And I know them all because there is a song. I don't know if you know this song. There's a song that talks about all the 14 provinces. And when I was a kid, I was taught to sing it so that I would remember all the different provinces.
So are you going to sing for us?
I guess I have to now. The song is called Long Thai. And it's a long song. So I'm not going to bore you with the whole song because I only remember the section that includes my province anyway. So, and this song is so amazing. It was written by one of the national artists, like a really well regarded musician. And not only does the song list all the provinces, it lists all the provinces in order from north to south. Yeah, so it starts with Chumphon, which is the north, and it ends with Narathiwat, which is at the very
Wow.
tip. And like, how amazing is that? You didn't just like write a song; it all goes. So I will
Wow.
give you my Pailin's debut of my single of this chunk that includes Songkla, so you can listen for Songkla. So it goes. โอ้เมืองตรังเหมือนจะยังให้พี่ติดตรึงแค่คิดถึงพัทลุงและสงขลาสตูลปัตตานียะลาโสพีตรึงตราโอ้บางนารามีวาสนาคงมาอีกที there you go.
You sing so well. Bravo. Good job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so there you go, 14 provinces of Thailand in a song. And I will
amazing.
see if we can link to the complete song in the show notes. Okay, moving on to food. What is Southern food like? What is the first word that comes to your mind when you think Southern food?
Amazing.
A little more descriptive than that.
To me, it's like a combination of bowl flavors that has wonderful texture and quite distinctive ingredients.
Yes. So I have a list of sort of main features that make Southern food sort of unique. First one, top of mind, is spicy.
It is very spicy.
Yeah. It's the spiciest probably of all the regions. What do you think?
I think it is not that only spicy, it's hot spicy, meaning it's a kind of spicy that lingering in your mouth, right?
Yes, and that's because they use a lot of black pepper in the South. And the burn of pepper is different from the burn of chilies. Like we call it petron, right? Which is like it feels warm, like your entire throat feels warm, and that's the heat from a lot of pepper. But whereas chilies, it's like sharp, but it's short. And it's more localized. I don't know, it's hard to describe. But the South is like notorious for having very, very spicy food.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
The Southern girl. Is it true that we say kon tai du? because you eat spicy food.
So
what I said to her was, are you very grumpy or angry type? I should not say that out loud.
Like Like do means like easy to easy to get upset. No, like you scold other people. Like you, if you get up, you're prone to scolding other people. Like, why are you doing this? It's like parents when a child has misbehaved, then you do the child, you scold the child. And there's a what, an expression that Southerners are more do than other regions because we eat a lot of spicy food, so we have a lot of heat in our bodies that needs to come out.
So are you easily upset?
I don't think so,
Yeah, you
but
seem
I
quite chill.
but also Southerners, like if you, I think like it also comes from the dialect. If you listen to the Southern dialect compared to the Northern dialect, Northerners sound like they are so nice, so gentle, and so like wonderfully relaxed. And the South sounds like they are rapping the whole time they're talking. They're fast, they're fierce, like just the language, right, is so different that I think that's probably part of where the expression comes from. No, but like Southern people we're great. So
I
the other feature of Southern food is lots of seafood, right? Lots of seafood. And that's because of the peninsula. Like there's a huge amount of coastline. Every province, yeah, basically every province is attached to the sea.
and think about it, on your east side is the Gulf of Thailand, and on the west side is
Mm,
Andaman Sea, right?
yes,
So
yes.
it's luscious of gorgeous fish and freshness.
And that's why when people go to vacation to Thailand and you want to go to the beach, you end up in the south because that's
Mhm.
where all the beaches and the islands
Mhm.
are.
Mhm.
The other feature of Southern food, I feel like it's a lot of pungent flavors. So, a lot of strong smelling things from fermented foods. They have like ingredients like vegetables like sata that is very pungent, and they love things that have strong smells. So, wouldn't be like Thai food 101 for Westerners, but definitely if you're into like strong smelling things, you're not shy about that, you're gonna love it. And also, I don't know about this one, so I want to hear from you what you think. But I feel like Southern food is not very heavy. Like it seems to be light and fresh. Like there's not a lot of fat and richness.
The only the only dish that I could think of that is richness is the mu hong, right?
Yeah.
The braised pork belly, and that's it. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's very seafood driven and veggies driven.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I thought about Muhong too, and there's an exception to every rule, but I feel like in general, it's very fresh and light and healthy for you. Lots
It's
of
quite
herbs.
healthy.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially superfood of the turmeric, right? The
Yes.
antioxidant.
Yes. And we're going to get into specific ingredients. And then finally, perhaps the most important feature of Southern food is Muslim influence, right? Because the
Hmm.
South is attached to Malaysia and Muslim spread from Malaysia into Thailand via the South. So the biggest population of Muslims are in the south of Thailand. In fact, the three bordering provinces are mostly ethnic Malays. So, not like ethnic Thai or Thai Chinese like the rest of the country, a lot of ethnic Malays. And so, there are a lot of dishes down there that would be very similar to what you would find in Malaysia and Indonesia, right?
Just to give you tips, like if you get to travel down south, instead of like in the north or in central Thai, you see many of Thai temples. But when you
Mm-hmm.
go down south, instead of many temples, you see more of the mosque.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it behooves me to mention that there is definitely tension between the Buddhists and the Muslims. And this is one of the longest running political unrest in Asia is the Muslims in the south of Thailand wanting to separate, and the country at large, which is mostly Buddhist, kind of want to assimilate them, and there's a big tension down there. So for those of you going on vacation, that is something to keep in mind. There's a lot of political unrest and violence in the three southernmost provinces, Yala, Pattani, Narathiwat, in the south of Thailand. But if you're going to popular tourist destinations like all the islands, you are safe. Nothing's going to happen there. But it's just FYI, and I feel like we have to mention it, as part of the discussion of southern food. Okay, let's move on to iconic ingredients. What comes to mind in terms of ingredients when you think of southern food?
Kapi,
Gapi, which is
shrimp paste.
yes, fermented shrimp paste. This is the land where shrimp paste is made, right? Like this is the best shrimp paste. And we're talking about fermented shrimp paste that is a brownish gray paste that is very, very funky, very high in umami. And this is where it really shines.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of you mentioned about it before, sato.
Mm-hmm.
I think it get another bad rep, for its own name. I don't think it should be called stinky beans. I think
Right?
it should be called something else because it's so good. It's nutty. It has its own personality.
Yes.
And when you put the sato and the shrimp paste together and make into a sauté dish, it's out of this world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's like double stinky, but so good. So sato, imagine a really, really large pod of peas, okay? But it's like a foot long. And the
Mhm.
beans inside are very dense and nutty. And it has, I wouldn't say a stinky flavor, but just an earthy aroma. But when you eat it, it just adds so much character to the dish. We commonly stir fry with it with shrimp paste, and man, you either love it, you hate it. But I feel like most people don't mind it. Like it's not so stinky. The name makes it sound worse than it actually is.
Yeah. And it's stinky only when you pee, like it's not like when you eat it.
It only bad after the fact.
Exactly. And that's how your body process it. Do you know that?
Yes. Yes. Like asparagus. Apparently some people,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'd mentioned this before, but the other iconic ingredient of the South is turmeric.
Yes.
So many yellow dishes in the South. What's your favorite turmeric Southern dish?
Oh my goodness. Gang Luang,
Yes,
the
which
yellow
is,
curry.
it's literally means yellow curry, but not the one you're thinking of, not the creamy coconut yellow curry. This is a sour, water-based curry that is stained yellow with lots of turmeric.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what? Maybe because I'm not from the South, I say gang luang, which it should, but local would call it gang som, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I
I
think
feel
that's
like
I've read it somewhere, or like I visited a kitchen down south, and I believe they call it gang som, where those who are not from the South would call it gang luang from the color.
yes,
Am
I
I
think so.
wrong?
I think you're right. I'm trying to remember. We called it gangsom growing up, but I don't remember if we made it the southern way with turmeric or not. But basically, gangsom means orange curry or sour curry, because som can mean sour or orange, the color
Mm-hmm.
orange. And in most of the country, we have this curry, but we don't put turmeric in it. So the resulting curry is not yellow. But in the South, it's the same curry basically, but they put turmeric in it. So the curry ends up looking yellow. So I think for the rest of the country, they have to like call it yellow curry to differentiate it from the non-turmeric version that the rest of the country has, whereas in the South, that's their only version. So they just call it gang som, because they have nothing else to compare it to, right? So
It could be it.
yeah.
Also, one of the best turmeric driven dish that I love is the turmeric fry fish.
Yes, and it's so simple. Oh, you know what? I haven't done that recipe on my
Oh,
website. I should do it.
you should.
Yeah, and it's basically fish marinated in a paste made from turmeric, pepper and garlic.
And
And that,
cilantro roots.
yeah. And then you just rub the fish all over with it, and then you deep fry it, and then you deep fry all the bits too of the garlic and the turmeric and everything, and then you put the crispy bits on the fish.
And you make a good seafood dipping sauce with it.
Yes, yes, a
So good.
simple dish, but very, very iconic of the South because it's this like bright yellow fish. So turmeric is one, and then we'd mentioned this before, but black pepper is
Mhm.
another iconic ingredient of the South, and iconic because the rest of the country uses white pepper, right? Like if you make, like if you say, I would like some pepper in Bangkok, it's assumed you want white pepper. Like they'll give you white pepper. That's like the default. But in the South, they use a lot of black pepper in their curry paste. They'll put a lot of black pepper in there, and that's part of where the heat comes from. Coconut is used a lot because, again, it's by the ocean. They grow a lot of coconuts down south. Um, oh, fermented products in the south. So aside from shrimp paste, which you had mentioned, we also have nam budu. Budu is a type of fish sauce that is also made from anchovies. But it's different in that the fermentation time is not as long. And I think because of that, it is a lot more pungent. Like it smells a lot stronger. And it is not filtered as finely as fish sauce. So it is a murky, thick sauce, but it's different from plara, which we talked about before, where it's also murky and thick. But plara is made from freshwater fish in the Northeast, whereas budu is made from saltwater anchovies. And they use that in the South, like liberally. But there's one dish that I want you to talk about that uses budu as a main ingredient, and that's the famous dish of the South that has when Bangkok people think about Nam Budu, we only can think of one thing, which is this dish, and it's khao yam, which means rice salad. And you just made a video for the Food Network recently making this dish. So can you tell us about what khao yam is?
Khao yam is a rice salad. Okay,
Yeah.
khao mean rice, yam to mix it together into a salad, and it is a very actually. I think you all listeners, you can try this at home. The recipe would be linked on the note, a show note below, and it is make of rice, which you can have fun making a variety of color. Pailin has that too on her
Mm-hmm.
hot Thai kitchen recipes, and then you can add on lots of vegetables, fresh vegetables, and maybe something sour fruit, you know.
Yeah.
But the best part, toasted coconut,
Mm-hmm.
shrimp floss,
Which is dried shrimp that basically you shred into little bits.
yeah, and then make it into, like dressing up with the lemongrass and makrut lam leaf, chiffonade that together. It just so light, healthy, refreshing.
Mm. I don't
I'm
make it enough.
hungry.
I know I don't make it enough. Like this is a dish that like easily slips your mind. Like you just don't think about it much. But man, when you make it, it is so good. And then what is in the budu dressing that you make?
You can buy a Voodoo store bought. In fact, good news. When I gave the recipes for the Food Network to do research,
Mm.
they found it online. So
Really?
that means that they're good news. Yeah, they found it online. So when
Ah.
I went to the set, um, there was a Voodoo, fresh bottle of Voodoo. Okay.
Wow.
But if you cannot find Voodoo, you can just do with fish sauce and
Yeah.
then aromatic, what you call you infuse that with galangal, lemongrass, makrut lam leaf, season a little bit with some sugar, palm sugar, coconut
Mm-hmm.
sugar, um, and tamarind to round it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And that makes it into a dressing, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to put much at all. It sound weird to you, could be, but once you have it, you barely could feel the awkwardness of the ingredients, don't you
Mm-hmm.
think?
Yes, yes, yes. And I like how you call it the awkwardness of ingredients because you would not naturally put these things together. You know, like
Mm-mm.
rice, sour fruits, dried shrimp, and all these herbs and vegetables, and toss it together with a fish sauce dressing. It doesn't sound like it would work, but man, it is. It's the famous dish of southern Thailand for a reason because this is the dish that everyone just absolutely loves when they try it.
And and then each bites that you take, you get different flavors.
Yes.
So fun to eat.
Yeah, and it's really healthy because it's light and it's got lots of herbs and vegetables. So, like, it's popular amongst the health conscious as well.
Well, that means you should try.
Yes. So, and then we'll link to the recipe below. And then finally, there's one other fermented thing that is only done in the South, and that is tai pla. So, do you like tai pla?
I love it. Love, 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 love แกงไตปลา
So tai pla literally means fish kidney, but what it actually is basically fish guts that have been fermented into a funky tasting ingredient. And then you use that typically to make a curry that is water based. So it's a very light curry and it is extremely spicy. And to be honest, I don't remember the last time I had gang tai pla. It's not an easy dish to find and I haven't been to the South for so long, so I don't have a memory of what it tastes like. But I don't recall it being particularly funky. Like, I feel like the funk, once you mix it into the curry and everything, it's not super strong, but it is very spicy.
It could be funky. As I said, I can use my other half as a barometer here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He can handle many dishes, but he's like, oh, this is too farang for me.
You mean he's too farang for it?
Could be, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. But I love it. So I can have the dish to myself, and I barely make that at home because I think it's a lot of ingredients and I can barely find tai pla. But when
Mm-hmm.
I went home this trip, I mean last month, my mom bought this pre-package of the tai pla samret, like a tai pla curry paste, and you just
Mm,
mix it. It's amazing. It has a lot of vegetables and a lot of, like household put in potatoes in it to cool down.
really?
Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
And the good news is, if you live in New York City, there's a couple of restaurants that serve this dish,
Is gang tai pla typically, what's the meat that they put in it? Fish?
tai pla.
That's it.
Fish,
Like, they
yes.
don't put any, like,
No.
other
Mm-mm.
chicken or anything.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It just a murky tai pla, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, friends, when you listen to this, I'm talking amazing food, okay? By the way, just a fun fact. Southern Thai food, okay, make the name to the world because the first 3 Michelin stars Thai restaurant is a Southern Thai food menu in
Mm-hmm.
Bangkok.
Yes. Son, right? That's the name
Yeah,
of the,
yeah,
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 SORN. Ah, and then
yeah,
we've just made it even harder to get a reservation.
yeah. So think of it as an adventure, and you would love all these flavors. It
Mm-hmm.
is especially those who love Thai food. It just another um how should I say this?
Another
Another
dimension of Thai
yes.
cuisine.
Yeah, how complex it
Yes.
is. And when
Yes.
you order, try to order, the fried fish alongside with the khao yum and the spicy gang leung, and then
Mm-hmm.
serve alongside with, again, kai jiao.
Which is Thai omelet. It goes with
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Thai omelet and gang leung sour curry go together especially well. Like, that's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk. We've already touched on a few iconic dishes, but there's a lot more that I want to give you, like, a good list so that if you ever go to Thailand or if you go to a Thai restaurant, you can be looking out for these iconic must-try dishes of southern Thailand. So it mentioned gang leung, the sour curry with turmeric. We'd mentioned fried fish with turmeric, khao yum rice salad, and now I'm going to bring up one of my favorite that I ate a lot of growing up in the South, and that is gai go le. Oh, it's so good. If it wasn't so much work, I would have it all the time. So gai go le, have you had it?
Yes.
Yes. It's a type of grilled chicken, okay? But in the Northeast, they would just marinate the chicken and they put it on the grill and be done with it. But in the South, they make a curry paste. So dried chilies, garlic, shallots, coconut milk, all kinds of things. And then they baste the chicken with this thick paste and grill it. And then you baste it again and again so that this herb paste basically like dries onto the chicken. And so the chicken ends up coated in this like thick, sticky curry paste. And it is incredibly flavorful. And usually the chicken is on like bamboo, the kind of bamboo skewers that clamps the chicken rather than like poke through the chicken. And when I was a kid, this was really popular in Hat Yai that I thought that was like what yang was. Like that's like the default barbecue chicken. Like I didn't realize that was southern food until I left and then didn't find it anywhere. And I have a recipe for it on hotthaikitchen.com. It's a bit of work, definitely more so than regular Thai barbecue, like northeastern style Thai barbecue chicken, but man, you make it once and it's like, okay, this
Yeah,
is really, really good.
so good. I love Southern Thai food.
Okay, what's the next iconic dish that you think people should try?
คั่วกลิ้ง
100%. Yes. What is it?
It is like minced protein because you would see a lot
Mhm.
of cooking mo. And again, I'm so sorry. But cooking, we do it in with mo, right?
It's often with pork. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though it's a Muslim land, but I think like that is a Thai side of
Mhm.
dish.
Mhm.
It's so aromatic with so imagine like you mince the pork and then you kind of like a dry saute that with the paste and then add on aromatic part of the makrutlan leaves. So good.
Mhm.
So good. Have that with like again, jasmine rice, sour cream, not sour cream, sour curry, not sour cream.
Although it would go very well with sour cream.
Sour curry. Oh my goodness. This is a feast. Yes, cooking.
So the curry paste that Chef Hong talked about is basically what we call prikkeng pak thai, which is southern style curry paste. So imagine like a red curry paste, but with black pepper and turmeric and heavy-handed on the shrimp paste, and you stir fry that with the ground pork, and it's completely dry, so you can imagine how flavorful that is because there's no sauce, no liquid to dilute it. All the curry paste like seeps into the meat, and I kind of describe it almost as a rice seasoning because it's so strong. You need rice with it, right? You mix it into your rice. And a few years ago, Cooks Illustrated reached out to me because they wanted to feature Kuok Ling in their magazine. And I was so surprised because it's not like a mainstream dish that most Thai restaurants would offer. I don't know where they found it from, but they wanted to feature it. And so they consulted me on the writing of that article. So if you're a subscriber of Cooks Illustrated, you can check that out. I have recipe on hotthaikitchen.com. It is very, very easy. Once you've got the paste, like it's like 5 minutes of cooking time.
Cool. Another dish that I would like to add on is ขนมจีนน้ำยาปู
Mm, Yes. Please describe to us what this is.
I read about this dish the other day, and someone mentioned it as a rice spaghetti. What do you think?
I
That's
mean,
kind of funny,
basically,
right? It
yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is. So imagine it's like a fermented rice noodle. Okay, ขนมจีน. We talk about this many times. And the curry that goes on the top of the ขนมจีน is the น้ำยาปู which again is a coconut milk based curry with a turmeric based curry paste. And bu is the crab. No, crab.
Yes,
Yes.
crap, yeah.
Yeah. And that all together is just, the creaminess from the coconut milk, aromatic from the paste. And, it just makes almost like a subtle crab flavors shine through.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have this dish, most of the time, they would serve with varieties of vegetables on the side, right? So in
Yes.
some restaurant, like a street food, this is almost like a street food dish, like you would find it off the street. and some of the stall would have tons and tons and tons of vegetables that probably make you full more than its own dish. Don't you think?
Yes. I will note though, as a southern girl,
Mm-hmm.
the most common type of kanom jin nam ya in the south is not with crab, because it's the basic kanom jin nam ya, which is thickened with fish. The
Uh-huh.
crab version is the version that is popular throughout the country because I think it's different and it
Mm-hmm.
looks luxurious because of the crab, and a lot of restaurants like to serve it because it's more luxurious. But the rustic version that most people eat from day to day on the street is this version with fish. I have a recipe of this on hotthaikitchen.com, and you can use any kind of fish. Cheap, inexpensive fish, white fish that you have, you pound it, you cook it, you pound it in the mortar and pestle until it's all fluffy, and that's mixed in with the curry sauce, and the fish thickens the curry. And it's the cheaper version, and it's so much more accessible than the crab version, but just as good. And you mentioned the vegetables. I remember when we were a kid, we went to this place all the time to have kanom jinam ya, and they would have like a table full of fresh vegetables. It's like a buffet. You can have as
Yes.
many as you want. As a kid, however, I wanted none of it. Like, I'm a kid, right? I just want noodles and sauce. I don't want vegetables tainting my joy of noodles. It wasn't until I became like an adult did I appreciate the texture and the freshness that all these vegetables add. Oh, and the main ingredient in kanom jinam ya, an absolute must-have, is grachai. Gachai is finger root, is a type of rhizome that we've talked about multiple times, I think, but without this, the flavor is not right. It's totally wrong. So I feel like this is one of those things where if you can't find gachai, it's you can't make them, yeah. End of story.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
Do you have any other dish that you think that you can think of as a iconic southern dish?
Ooh, thinking about Muslim community. Khao mok, right?
Yes, khao mok gai.
Yeah.
Tell us
Which
about
is
it.
uh, uh should I say it's the same as biryani?
Yeah, I think you can say that.
Yeah, it is pretty much a biryani, but we make it a Thai style.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time you would have, oh, I love, I'm so sorry. I think I'm just like, my brain cannot work that much because I need food because now we talk about food. Um, Khao mok. And you would find, like on a plate and serve it in Thai style alongside with nam jim gai. Do you do the same down
Um,
south?
no. In the South, we would. So Chef Hong is talking about a dipping sauce. It's like a sweet chili sauce.
Correct.
But in the South, it would be a um, vinegary sauce blended with green chilies and cilantro or mint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a sweet sauce; it's a sour sauce.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, as we mentioned earlier, that in the south of Thailand, we have a lot of Muslim communities and migration, and actually Thai Muslim community.
Mm,
And with that, they still keep, the food that have some influence from India, and we have the
mm-hmm,
biryani, that is so good, and some you would have it with the chicken,
mm-hmm.
and some with some beef and goat.
Yes. Chicken, beef, and goat. We had khao mok gai a lot in growing up, and again because it's southern food. But I didn't realize until I moved to Bangkok that like, oh man, I haven't had khao mok gai for a long time. Like in Bangkok, it's not all over the place like khao man gai is, right? Like you have to go to specific places to get it. You have to go to maybe like a Thai Muslim restaurant to get it. But again, the turmeric shows up again. The rice is going to be bright yellow from turmeric. Chicken is marinated and cooked with the rice. Mm, that is
Mm.
a really good one.
And the
And then
fried shallots on the top.
yes, the fried shallots. Oh, fried
Mm.
shallots is a big thing in Southern food. It goes on a lot of different things. So khao mok gai and our fried chicken, Hat Yai fried chicken, best fried chicken in the world, in my opinion, comes with lots of fried shallots and sticky rice. Mm,
Another fun tips that I just think of, when you think of Thai food, many of you might think, oh, we all eat sticky rice.
mm.
You guys don't do sticky rice in the South, okay? We only do jasmine rice. for Central and Southern Thailand.
Yes,
The
yes.
sticky rice only for the North and Northeast. So don't
Un-
expect to have, unless it's dessert.
and unless it's with fried chicken.
Really? You do
Yes.
fried chicken with sticky rice?
Yes.
Oh, something new. I don't know
Yeah.
that at all.
Hat Yai fried chicken is always with sticky rice, but we don't
Huh.
eat like other food with sticky rice. Mm.
But you know what? I have to say, sticky rice and fried chicken, it just it's a
You can't
match in
beat it.
heaven. Perfect. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can't beat it. Yummy.
I want to mention a couple of dishes that you wouldn't associate necessarily with the south of Thailand. A lot of people probably don't even know them, but there are a lot of these dishes where it is so localized that once you leave the region, it's like nobody knows about it. But in the region is quite common, and these are dishes that basically when I left the south, I realized that they're southern because they are no longer anywhere to be found where they were so common in where when I grew up. The first one is mi leung pat si ew. So everybody knows pat si ew, right? It's the rice noodles, the wide rice noodles that you stir fried fresh with soy sauce and Chinese broccoli. In Hat Yai, we have that, but we also have mi leung version. When mi leung is a what we call a type of egg noodles that are very thick. So it's probably like it's much thicker. It's like think of not quite udon, maybe half the thickness of udon noodles, but it's yellow and chewy and made from wheat, and we use that to stir fry. And I feel like this is related to mie goreng of Indonesia.
It has to be.
Yeah, because it's like all from the same region, right? Like I feel like this is related to mie goreng. So it's the same type of noodles that mie goreng uses also in Indonesia. And I have a recipe of this on the site, and it's actually really easy to make because the noodles are much easier to work with than the fresh rice noodles that they use in central Thailand. Like with that one, it's hard to find, and then if you don't do it right, it turns into mush in your wok and all this stuff. But the mi leung is much sturdier. It doesn't turn to mush. It's very easy to work with and much easier to find. So that's a version that you could try, and I had it all the time. I absolutely loved it. And then the other thing that I didn't realize was a southern thing, I just posted about it, is a dessert called kanom ko. And kanom ko is also, as I found out, is a dessert that exists in Malaysia and Indonesia by different names. But in Thailand, it only exists in the south. It's a sticky glutinous rice flour dough like mochi, flavored with pandan, filled with a crunchy piece of palm sugar in the middle. The whole thing is boiled, so it's like a dumpling, a sugar dumpling, and then tossed in shredded coconut. So good. So good. And I would recommend that if you want to learn more about obscure Southern dishes that you've never heard of and you want to know like what real deep Southerners really eat, there's a really good book that just came out recently called I have it right here. The Food of Southern Thailand. I almost forgot what it was called. The Food of Southern Thailand. It is an absolutely beautiful book. The cover is so beautiful, and it's by Austin Bush, and he has so many photographs, and he interviews people from the South and stories about how they make shrimp paste, how they make nambudu, and all of this stuff. It's not a home cooking book. Like if you're thinking like I want to cook Southern Thai food on a Tuesday night, this is not the book for you, okay? But if you like want to study a cultural study of what Southern Thai food is like, this is a really beautiful book to have. I don't want to call it a coffee table book because there's real useful information in there. It's not just like beautiful, but it is a beautiful book for your coffee table as well.
And I would add on, he does another book about Northern Thai food too. So if you want to learn more about the subculture of Thai cooking, he's a good
Yes.
guy to talk to.
Yeah. I guess one can only expect that he's going to do food of northeastern Thailand eventually
Well, let's give him a call.
to complete all the regions, but it may or may not happen. I'm just saying that would be the natural progression after the south and the north.
So what
Shall we
is
move?
your favorite dish growing up in the South up to your 12th years old?
What is my I would say probably like southern food. ขนมจีนน้ำยา
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So good. Yeah.
And even though we talked about southern food being spicy, there's always accommodations that they make for people who don't eat spicy. Like we tackled this myth already about um Thai food, how like everyone eats super spicy and everything is so spicy. No, in Thailand, like there's a range of people, right? Some people don't like spicy and some people eat really, really spicy, and everybody spans everything in between. And in the South, even though the food is known to be very spicy, there are versions available for people who don't. And so the Kanom Jinam Ya place that we used to go to had like a kids version. They call it the kids, I think they call it the kids version, but it was just so mild that kids could even have it. So, if you don't eat super spicy, like don't be afraid to try because you can always turn it down. Spiciness is a dial you can turn according to your tolerance. Mhm.
True to that. And have
Mhm.
variety of, like other dishes to tone it down,
Mhm.
and lots
Mhm.
of veggies as a condiment.
Yes. And so I will leave you with this because normally we like to leave you with like tips for cooking the specific dish, right? But I would like to leave you with if you were to make one southern dish, what should you make that would be easy enough and also representative of flavors of the South? I would pick two things. Either you make kanom jinam ya if you can find grachai, or you make khao yam. I think both of these are really good, beginner friendly, nothing too pungent and all of this, and you will enjoy it. What do you think?
I second you
Mm.
100%. Yeah. And add on the turmeric fried fish, and
Oh
instead
yeah.
of frying, you can bake it. I'm sure it,
Yeah,
it would do well.
that's true. Or air fry it.
Yes. Uh-huh. Especially the crispiness on the top. You will seriously, it's like a love at first bite. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
That much that I would
Yes.
say.
Yes. Totally. So that is it for our episode on Southern Thai food and my debut of my singing career.
I'm very impressed. I've
Really?
never thought that would coming. That you would sing live. That's amazing. And your voice was really nice too. Good job.
Well, thank you. That's the only section of the song that I know. So if you want to reach out to us, you can write in at sabaitalk at hongtaime.com, and you can find me at Hot Thai Kitchen on Instagram. My website is hotthaikitchen.com for all of your recipe needs, and of course on YouTube as well.
And for me, it is Hong Thaimee on all platform, and we're looking forward to build this community together so we can learn more about Thai food, Thai culture, and the Thai way of living.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time. สวัสดี
ส
ค่ะ
วัสดีค่ะ
This episode is sponsored by our friends at Chef's Choice. Chef's Choice has been producing many different Thai ingredients and exporting them to the US for over 50 years. They are, in fact, the first coconut milk factory in Thailand. And for those of you who are vegetarian or vegan, Chef's Choice makes a great vegan fish sauce that I can highly recommend.
And I'm the fan of their coconut milk and curry paste. So thank you so much, Chef Choice, for supporting and be part of our Sabai Talk journey.